Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first edition of KSUM Biz-Connects webinar series. So, if the voice is clear, please put yes in the chat box, or our team will be. Yeah, thank you, Murali. Thank you, Nishan. Yep. So, the Kerala Startup Mission Biz-Connects webinar series. This webinar series is mainly focused to help Kerala entrepreneurs to connect with the startup founders who benefited from the Kerala startup ecosystem in terms of business and investments from national or international corporates. The startup founders will be sharing their experience in dealing with the corporates, how the mindset to be, errors or flaws in between the deal, and the full flow of the deal conversion with the corporate. So today we have Mr. Jyothis KS, co-founder of ZappyHire, who successfully completed their first international corporate business deal for his startup. He'll be sharing his whole experience and key learnings from the corporate. The Talent Coin, a skill bartering marketplace based in France. Before I hand over the mic to Jyotish, Jyotish has 15 plus years of experience in IT management and entrepreneurship in the AI space. Before co-founding ZappyHire, Jyotish had worked with Cognicore, an AI conversational company in Spain, as Chief Operating Officer and managed Asian sales. Under his leadership, Cognicore grew from one member team to a 70 plus member team with multiple international and national clients. He also worked in MNCs like Cognizant and Infosys. Thank you, Jyotish. Thanks for joining us. Hearty welcome. Over to you, please.
Thank you, guys. Good morning, all. And thanks a lot for KSUM for giving me the opportunity to share my experience in my career. So, guys, today we are going to have around 45 minutes of discussion. And the 15 minutes in Q&A session. So, in case if you feel to ask any questions or share a better experience, please feel free to do so. I strongly believe that you guys who are joined has a better experience than me, and if you have anything you wanted to share with me or share with entire people, so that all of us can learn from all your experience, please do so. I'm a strong believer of continuous learning. Okay, now let me quickly introduce the team. I think Prijit has already given an introduction about me, so I don't want to repeat it again. Mr. Deepu is my co-founder in ZappyHire. So he was actually working with Oracle before joining ZappyHire as a product manager of Java programming language. And he also worked in Bosch Infosys. So we worked together in Infi in 2005 4 times. And we got deputed into a couple of other different companies together. So that's the point where we met each other, and then we started in ZappyHire in 2018 September. Okay, so that's the quick introduction about the team. So let me quickly introduce about my product as a salesperson, which I'm supposed to do. So ZappyHire is an intelligent hiring tool which is actually managing the entire talent acquisition framework or process from candidate selection or the corpus resume corpus, identify the right candidates and rank the candidates, doing the chatbot based video interview, and create a curated list of candidates fully automated way. And then once it's created the curated list, then again it can be scheduled into multiple assessments through online, offline, whatever way you want it to do, including gamification assessments, and come up with a 360 view of candidates, which would give a complete insights about the candidate for a better hiring decisions. So we are one of the first company who implemented the gamified assessments in hiring. And there are a couple of case studies has been published on this, and we got the IDC's Innovation Award for this implementation in one of the leading bank in India. All right. So I don't want to spend too much time on this part, but let me know if anyone is interested to explore the solution furthermore. You can contact me or just write to sales@ZappyHire. we will touch base with you. Okay, now come to the business. Today I'm going to, as I mentioned before, today I'm going to share my experience with all of you guys. That how I was dealing with the corporate clients, especially. I choose two important ones from my experience. One is an open vault at OCBC. OCBC is one of the largest bank in Asia, and it's ranked as fourth safest bank in the world. And they started an open innovation program in Singapore, and we got selected into means that not ZappyHire, the one which I was working before, the Cognivore, got selected into that program along with another 8 different international startups. And we are the only one startup from India at that point of time from in that cohort. So Freshline is the second one, which I got introduced by the KSUM team and ZappyHire. As a ZappyHire founder, I was dealing with them, and we almost converted that deal to a full-time contract. I will take you through that my journey in both cases. So this working with the corporates is always a very interesting journey, and of course. The mindset has to be slightly different there, where we need to keep investing in the relationship, and probably you're not able to monetize every step you do or every engagement you do with them. But apparently, this is a great idea to invest in the relationship and make the deal more bigger in the longer run. The good thing happened for us is that the deal with the OCBC actually converted into a big success implementation, and they got around 70 million revenue from the chatbot we implemented. In fact, that was one of the leading innovation implementation from OCBC bank, and that's the only one final implementation from their first batch of startups. So that was a huge success, and we, as a company, as a team, we all gained the benefit out of it, and it was a quite enriching experience. So we look forward to the similar experience with the Freshline too. Even though we just started off with the Talent Coin, probably we'll be expanding, the similar journey into the other, into the current clients as well. Right. So let me quickly introduce you to what is the corporate accelerators. This is one of the good way to start off any B2B business. I would like to just to give my perspective to this, but in case if you guys have a better idea or a better points, please do share. So when I started the ZappyHire as a team, we actually started looking at all corporate acceleration programs, and we keep applying in all places wherever we could. And apparently, we got an introduction from the KSUM as well. So this is a good starting point to validate your business, right? Whatever solution you do, it's a good validation. You will quickly get validated. And sometimes most of the corporate accelerator programs will have a investment wing as well, where the corporates is ready to invest in your company if they see a good synergy between your business and and a good founders team, and etc. etc. And the good thing is, it's not like a VC investment where they will ask a lot of stake for early startups. But in this case, they will, with the standard stake, let's say 5%, 7%, they have always a standard stake, and they a standard money to invest as well. So it is a good idea to raise an investment from this kind of corporate accelerators with the minimal stakes. So you're not going to lose a lot of stake in the early stages of the company. And second is the mentorship. So the third point is the mentorship. This is a very interesting and very useful for any early stage B2B startup, because as I see especially in Kerala, every startup founders will talk about their technology. Most of them are very proud about the technology what they implemented, But when they start talking about the business, I see a lot of gaps, which was true for me also when I started initially. So try to learn the business and try to talk in the business language is quite vital for your success in a large deals, right? So while you get into this corporate accelerators, you will get introduced to multiple SMEs within the either bank or insurance company. Who try to be have a super engagement with all of these guys and ask the mentorship. Whenever you see them, ask the mentorship, and then get into a half an hour call on a weekly basis, and seek their help in terms of building the business, building to ensure their business flows are being completely aligned within our business in our application or in our product, and improve it and show them that what we have improved it. So the people will always get excited the moment you show them what you have learned and implemented in the product based on their their feedbacks, right? This is a very interesting way of attracting attention from them. They also feel that, hey, I contributed this company and these guys are listening to me and they have implemented what I said. This is and most of the times, I have seen that the people who are given the mentorship, eventually they can come to our board, and give us a official mentor to us. So this is a great start of a good relationship in longer perspective. And imagine if you get somebody who is like 20 plus or 30 plus years of experience in the similar business, and they come to on board into your board is an amazing stuff. And of course, it's a great reference story wherever you can refer this story. And most of the times, let's imagine one bank implemented your solution, then obviously it automatically creates a peer pressure to the other banks or insurance companies. They will also look at will also contact us and ask right questions like how they implemented and what was the difficult points and what was the ROI, and the final outcome, right? And this is something which they look forward, because they see that learning from an experience so that I can easily implement in my company or my bank, right? So this is always will open up a different. If this reference story will definitely open multiple other opportunities for you guys in the different other players in the same segment. And the last point is the resources and the PRs. So as a startup company, right? So we always look for a lean model. We don't want to spend much money from our pocket, especially in the early stages of startup. Even in the COVID situations, we don't want to spend a lot of money. So, but we still need marketing, and we still need PRs and the free resources, right? So this is the best way of deal with the corporate accelerators. Sometimes even they will give you space to operate from their offices or headquarters, wherever they feel. So this is a great idea, but sometimes we need to ask them, right? We need to ask them. We need 2 seats to work closely with your team. Can we have the space for you? So they normally will allow, because it's nothing losing for them, just a 1 or 2 or maximum 5 seats, and still you can be well connected with the team and get all the other benefits from that bigger organization.
Jyothis, sorry to interrupt. So we can't see your presentation now.
Your
Right.
your screen has gone. Can you please reshare it again?
Wait, I'll do it.
Oh.
I'm so sorry for that. I don't know if
No worries.
So, audience, while Jyothis is sharing his screen, I would like to just brief you on like how to proceed with asking questions. So, if you have any questions, you can just type it in questions tab, or if you want to ask to Jyothis directly, you can just click on the raise hand option, and we will unmute you for the talk. And meanwhile, if you have any views to share or any points that you would like to add on to you can type those in the chat box. Yes, Jyothis,
Guys, can you hear me?
we can hear you, but we cannot see your screen. Jyothis, can you hear me? Hello, Jyothis.
Okay.
Seems like there is just
Maybe some internet issues. So I'll just call him over the phone. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Jyothis. Hello. Hello, Jyothis. Hello, Jyothis. Can you hear me? Hello. He left.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
very well.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, please share your screen.
Yeah. 1 second.
Yeah, normally it happens due to the weather conditions are bad in Kerala now.
Yeah. I'm just trying to share it, but this got stuck, I believe. 1 second.
So, Jyothis, if you could, email me that presentation, I will share my screen.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, share to me also.
Prajit and who's the other?
Vignesh.
Yeah.
I'm just trying it.
Is there any error showing?
No, it's not. It's not actually
Mm-hmm.
clicking it. As in, I don't see anything after just clicking. It's just like a blank one. No worries. I'll just drop an email.
Yeah, please. I will share the screen.
It happens.
Jyotish, did you send that mail?
Yes, I sent that mail.
Okay.
You will get a minute or so.
Yeah. Okay. Jyotish, hope you sent to Vignesh at startamation.in, right?
Yes, yes. May take some time. It's a little bigger one. So,
Okay.
yeah. I was just trying to share it again from this system. It isn't showing that.
Mhm. Okay.
Should I log in back? Probably
Yeah.
just log out and log
Just
in. That help?
yeah. Yes.
Okay. Just give me a moment.
Prajit, did you get that mail?
No, still waiting to get it.
Yes, mine too.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I can share right now.
Yeah,
I'll
please.
yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's coming. Now it's visible.
Okay. Okay, guys. Sorry that interrupts. Can you see my screen, all of you guys?
Yes, it's
All
perfectly fine.
all right. Okay, so I was talking about the resources side, the free resources and the PR part. So on the PR side, right? So if this relationship is going well, and of course the corporate wanted to showcase their success, and as all of you know, corporates wanted to show them as a brand, as an innovation brand always, yeah, for their investors, in front of their investors or their customers, and of course their peers as well. So try to use that intention and try to push whenever they do a PR. Just try to push our names also, product names, or even company names also. Sometimes they have a clauses that they won't mention the company name, but at least you put their ask them to put our product name. So that is also a good way to do it. So all of you guys know, right, why they are doing all this, why they're investing and all, putting their resources into this, working with the working with the startups and the corporate accelerator programs. The reason is, if the corporates are very big, right, to do an innovation is within the corporates a very humongous task. It's very difficult to make the entire team to think align with the same innovation thoughts of the leaderships. So there is two options for them. One is they can create their own innovation lean team within the company and make that culture slowly spread across to the other teams. There are few companies, if you look at it in the history, few companies that did like that. For example, Intuit. Intuit did that approach. But most of the companies tried out and failed that approach, and then they came up with the second one, where they have either do an acceleration program using their own resources. Sometimes they will be touch based with another vendor to do this corporate acceleration programs. In this case, this is act as a different arm altogether for the corporates, and obviously, what the end of the day, corporates wanted to get these solutions, or the startups, and do the innovation from an outside to start with, but eventually, adopt those innovation to the corporate culture. And of course, there will always a lot of terms and conditions. They will be very conscious about their security and all the stuffs, which we need to address it. So next slide, I'm going to showcase you what the typical life cycle of an engagement with a corporate. So it could be in a corporate accelerator program as well, or with a corporate too. So from there, we will take a bit more deeper. What are things we need to do, and how do we prepare as a startup to get engaged with a corporate? Now, this is the normal life cycle of an engagement. So where most of the bigger corporates publish their problem statement, or even like a KSUM team will help us to identify the right set of problem statements and identify those right solution for you, for your solution. Once the solution is matching, right, you can start engaging with this corporates or corporate accelerator program manager. I quickly enter into an FOC scoping and terms. Here we have to be very proactive in nature, and always every time when you discuss with them, it should end with a point that when we can do a POC. That's the only point. Just to concentrate into that. So once they like your solution, they will say they will agree to do a POC with you guys normally, and normally they will push to say that this, you are a startup and working with us is a good thing for you guys, so we need a free POC, right? Don't agree with that. Say that to ensure, you can say that, it's not that we need money, but we need accountability from the other side, right? And if you do a free POC, believe me, you're not going to be anywhere until unless you clothe them in terms of the accountability, and of course that drill down to money. They won't give right attentions. They won't invest in right resources to make this POC success. So I humbly request to all of my co-founders, all my peers, to ensure you do only the paid POCs. Nothing more, nothing less in that aspect. But when you make the terms, it should be very clear what is a POC scope. Because most of the times in the later stages, there will be questions, say it was not in the scope and stuff like that. So in order to avoid all these confusions and discussion in the later stages, which would hamper your relationship in future, make sure you written all the scope in the agreement, and also ensure you have given the right KPI to measure the success of the POC. This is really, really important. Most of the time, we will be very happy to get the paid POC. We'll forget the framework to measure the success. It's like ultimately it's more like it's more like a management of their expectations, right? So make sure very crystal clear that this is, if I do this POC, if the POC work in this way, and these are the KPI to measure, please call it as successful. In case if they're not meeting all these things, okay, you have all freedom to either move out or give us another second chance, right? So once you have the contract with all this two important stuff, and of course you also to be very, very careful about the IP, should be careful about the confidentiality and all the agreements, all the terms in that agreements, which I'm sure that most of you guys have known, but just emphasize that point as well in the POC scoping and terms and agreements part. So once you're done with that, one of you guys should start talking to the beta users. So who is going to interact or use the system. So when you're actually, discussing the scope and the early discussion with the business, in the other side, just to ensure or force them to identify the beta users as well, because it will help us to engage them in the early stages of the engagement and make sure you are aligned with their expectations. Normally, the beta users are SMEs from any of their business units, right? It's not they will release to all of the people in the bank or in the insurance companies. Ideally, any of their segments within the bank. For example, it could be loans department or it could be risk department in terms of insurance domain. They will come and do a POC with you. But ask them who is going to be your beta users. So once you identify the beta users, once you force them to identify the beta users, one of you guys start acting with the beta users from the day one onwards and try to understand what is their expectations. This is quite important for you to align with their expectation and make the POC a successful event, right? So what exactly we are doing? We are actually talking to the end users and try to get what is their expectation and bring all this expectation or adopt this expectation to our team and make sure we deliver a solution which is in line with their expectations, right? Once you're done with that, of course, the next stage would be the business UAT. By the time you know that what exactly the beta users of UAT stage is expecting, and we deliver something which is in line with their expectations, which is very pertaining to their expectations. So once we've done that, of course, if everything goes well, there is a high chance that it will convert it to a successful POC, right? So try to try to get a meetings from all the main decision makers and just spread the words that the POC is successful, right? So this is something which one person has to do it very continuously. You need to market yourself in that bigger business or bigger company. Nobody going to market for you, right? So this is something which all of you guys just do internally. And then once you're done with that, normally the SLA will come to the place. And there are a lot of things we need to take care of when we converted this, the POC agreement to SLA. Team will one day will pop up and ask, hey, we want to do an audit, a security audit in your case. The process will come, and you start seeing a lot of new faces in the engagement. The reason till now we are only dealing with the POC. Now we are going to deal with the corporate contracts. Now things are totally different. As I said, a lot of good guys, a lot of different guys will come, ask a lot of data, starting from the infrastructure data until the process data, a lot of data. So here you see, as a startup, we need to work a lot in terms of process, in terms of security, in order to get ready for a work with a corporate. I will get into the details of that in the later stages. But just ensure that this stages is quite important. So you do the preparation once you see the POC is kind of a successful. Now, as I said before, every time not the bigger company or bigger bank will fully come and contract with you. It will start within a one business unit. For example, as I said before, either it could be a loan or it could be a risk department, whoever. Now you have all freedom to cross-sell it or upsell it within the bank or insurance companies. Believe me, once you get into a corporate, it's actually a sweet spot. You can actually go and sell to the entire bank. So this would take 1 or 2 years for you to get onboarded all other players in the or all other business units in the business. But it depends, right? Some cases we create a product only for the risk department. There is no need to talk to the marketing department. There is no need. But in some cases, if you see a product which can be easily cross-sold to all other departments, feel free to do so. And of course, you in these stages, you need to create an internal champion within the corporate and ask him the references or connects within the corporates, right? So let's imagine deal with the marketing department and you are identified a champion like a VP of marketing, and ask that person, the VP person, to get an introduction to, let's say, loans or any other departments. So he will happy to do it. So if that's a good way of getting introduction to the other departments too. Now, quickly going through the what should be as a founder, as a startup founder, an early startup founder, what are things we need to keep in mind while we are going through this journey. So this is my experience. Of course, I said you can also add on in case if you wanted to share some successful story or case studies. One aside, the main important thing is like show the agility when we actually delivering something or on the execution phase. Because as I mentioned before, why they came to a startup, because there internally as a bigger organization, it's quite difficult to innovate, or it's quite difficult to do some execution within the organization, because it's all structured, process driven, etc., etc. So for them to execute a project would minimal take another 6 to 7 months, where they're going to see that the results with the startup in a 1 or 2 months. So that should be a key mantra. Whatever they say, that make sure that you deliver before their expectations. So you need to work hard on that. But this is a good way of projecting or getting the attention from a corporate. And the second point is very important: talk in their language. So I mean, we are all good, excited, and very happy and confident all about the tech side of it. But when we talk to a lawn guy, we should be able to talk in their languages, right? What the risk they have, or risk assessment in their process of loan, or it could be that what are the different terminologies which they use. Try to use the similar terminologies also. So you can you can learn it from the either champion you identified within the company, or you can do your own research in the internet and understand what is the domain and what's the jargons that we call it as jargon within that particular business. And of course, we also need to do a super research on the corporate side. Like imagine if you meet a girl and wanted to do a dating with her, and how aggressively we search on social media to know more about her, right? The similar passion you need to put into this side also, to understand about that company, then their quarter results and how they were performing, and how many what are their target for next quarters and stuff like that. This will definitely help you when you actually deal and discuss with your counterpart. Even if in a coffee meeting, this kind of things can bring on, and probably they will start liking you. I'm giving you a super tip on this. Okay, now the fourth point is something which is already we discussed: identify the in-house champion and have a good personal relationship with him, and try to understand his interest and what is his his growth path within the company. Okay, so if you support him to attain his goals, he will start supporting you to attain your goals also. So that is how it is working. So it is something which we need to make sure that all this engagement, all our effort will contribute to that person's growth within the company also. So that will definitely help you in the future. So, but don't ask that directly, or what we need. You need to get into the growth and stuff like that. But you should be very smart enough to understand all things between lines and act accordingly. And of course, whatever we do, even a very, very small interaction, make sure you deliver some value to even very small interactions. Sometimes helping them to create a case study, or helping them to present some corporate presentations and all this stuff would definitely add value to their engagement part. So the other point which I've already mentioned, every time when you do something, especially the contracts, make sure that there is a value in that contract. Don't do anything free. They will definitely come up with a point saying that, you guys are startups and just early startups. Imagine if you save this relationship and get another business, it would be an additional advantage for you guys. So please do a free POC for us. Don't agree to this. So there you need to be very strong and ready to walk away in case if they are not ready to pay. If they are not ready to pay, believe me, they are not very serious in that engagement. When it comes to the pricing model, it should be very clear and simple. You can do all your mathematics, internal, unit pricing while you are discussing or while you are brainstorming internally. But when it comes out with the pricing model, it should be very clear and simple. Don't complicate it at all. Don't add a lot of attributes to that. Make it very simple and very. They also look forward of the cleanliness of that pricing model, and they should feel that we are hiding something with a lot of components added to the pricing model. Make it very simple. And the third point is very important when it comes to a real contract, right? They normally do a security auditing. That could be either PwC or some other bigger corporates. We recently gone through two security audits, one from PwC. And believe me, it was a great experience for us in ZappyHire. And make sure that you are all the process in line and ready with the documented with the proper documentation, and ensure all your infrastructure, including your code commit, access to the code, are superly well managed, and ensure there is no, especially with the SaaS model, right? The business always will be little skeptical about the security of the data in SaaS, right? They always push you guys to deploy it in the solution, but I would leave that decision to you, all of each one of you. But mostly, if you keep your data like a typical SaaS company or SaaS product, ensure all this aspect of the security, scalability, etc. My suggestion is, imagine if you can find out one of your startup friend who's in a security companies within our ecosystem. Try to use their services. You need to pay them and use their services. And before even start a security audit, show them that, hey, the company is not a big name, but still we actually audited from a company, and this is the report. This would definitely reduce entire the process tightness. They think that, okay, these guys have thought about it at least, and they acted on it. So this would be definitely a good strategy to ensure that the security audit will go very smoothly. And another point which we need to be very clear and make sure it has been there, for example, is the post-sales support. Every corporate who are going to ready to buy from you, they will ensure how you guys are supporting after the sales, right? This is the biggest concern for a corporate, believe me, because they know that we are a startup, early stage startup, and what is the credibility of this team? How many are these guys are funded? Will be there for next 5 years. This is something they definitely will look at it. That is the biggest risk for any corporate who's working with you guys. Now it's your duty to make sure that we have a super post sales support team or a customer success manager team who will engage with you guys. We have all the tools established, for example, Jira or whichever is good for you. Buy that. There is maximum $700 or $500 or something on a 6 months on a yearly basis. Buy it, spend on this, and get the tools, get ready, and establish all these tools and process in your company. This is very important, because without showing all this, being a startup, but showing a maturity in the process, they won't ever be going to be a serious relationship with you guys, right? Even though they will definitely pride and ready to announce, hey, we have been working with the startups and etc. Until unless you guys have proved that the maturity of your process and tools within the system, they won't go for a longer relationship. Maybe they will go for a POC and then then move on. Okay, the last one is which is related to what I was saying, but I wanted to call out these things. This is a learning for us for the last couple of security and process audit happened in the ZappyHire. Like we should have a process for the change request management. How do you manage a change request once you deploy your product into the corporate? Definitely, users will have some questions and changes in the future. How are you going to address it? Do you have a CAP? CAP is like a change manager, managing acceptance authority board who will actually look at each change request and understand or validate should we go it or not, etc. So, and the release manager, how are we going to release it? There are two releases will happen. One is the change request or whatever they wanted to do for the product for the future releases. Second type is like as a product, we also improve a lot of features, lot of screens, etc. Future roadmap, which is part of our product roadmap. How do we ensure or how do we deploy these new features to our corporate clients? So this, you should be very clear on that part, that how do we manage the risk, the release management, and you should be very in line with their IT process also. The IT team will come to you definitely, since it's an IT project, they will come to you and ask you what is your release management plan for you guys. And they said that whatever you have the plan, we also wanted to add these steps into this. So make sure you be completely aligned, get prepared on the release as well. And risk management, of course, how do you keep your data in case of there is anything pandemic happen? How do you ensure the business continuity? So you should have a business continuity plan, and you need to present as an evidence, like a business continuity mock drill results, right? This is all the learnings we got from the PwC and other companies audit. And of course, you should keep a DevOps, code access related data and the presentation as well. This is really important because the reason is, as I mentioned before, as a startup and early startup, we normally busy with building the product and building the sales. But other side, it's when we actually start dealing with the corporate, all they will come to you as a surprise. So if you actually make sure you do these things whenever you have time, and at least to assign one person to keep progressing it while you're building the product, it's quite easy for you guys to get ready with all artifacts and make sure you are completely a corporate ready startup. All good. So I'll just take you through the best practices we have to do as a founder, as a team. The first one is quite important, which I'm currently going through with the talent coin right now. You need to hire a professional legal team. It's very, very important. It's a very important to keep your IPs, confidentiality statements, and all other important aspects. And of course, as a founder, we don't have all the knowledge about or deep knowledge about the legal part, right? So it is better always hire a legal team, which will maybe cost you around 20,000 or 25,000 type on your discussion and negotiations. But make sure you have a legal team for you. Especially when you deal with international clients, you should read and understand each and every word in the contract. It's very important to ensure your IP as well as the confident. What is the risk involved in case something go wrong? Because all of us are currently working from home, right? And if something happened like a breach of data or any data leakage, like what is the impact as per the contract on us? This is very important. So you should make sure you have minimize the risk which you are agreeing in the contract. There will be a risk, guys. There will be a risk. There will be definitely a different clauses to ensure that we have to pay or do some compromise in terms of this data breach or security breach happens. But how do you smartly minimize it? You can discuss with your legal team and come up with a clause and try to push that clause to corporate. Normally, corporates will like a 10x irreversible damage on those kind of clauses, which we can't agree on it, because I understand, like me, all of you guys are bet on your the best careers, and you take a lot of risk in building the companies and products. And it's quite important for you guys to don't jump into this kind of contract, which would be very harmful in the longer term, which would even impact your investment in the future routes. Guys, please make sure that very look at each and every part in the contract and ensure this. And of course, you should also help hire the some company, or you can talk to the different peers to identify the negotiation strategies. Very important, because do the pricing or the terms or the scope whenever you come up or whenever you encounter the counterpart of your business team, they are well prepared and they are kind of well experienced guys. So as a startup, we should be able to come up with the different negotiation points to ensure that it's a win-win, right? It's a win-win, and our also should be taken care in that discussions and agreements. This is very important. And the fourth point is the cultural fit. So normally what we also do is when we deal with a customer, especially if it is, imagine if that is from France or any other different companies, we do a quick research on the cultural side of it, because every country has a different culture, working culture. So once, even sometimes we seek the professional help, who will have a coaching classes about working culture in different countries. If you can better hire from the same country, that's the best. And then definitely you need to do a presentation or session with your team, and their team who have been associating with that project or who have been dealing with the customer directly. Even if we give that to a developer, I would definitely say that it's very important, right? How to deal, how to write an email, how to everything is on the Zoom call. So how to put the right etiquettes in the Zoom call and etc. This is important. And another thing which I would successfully implemented within ZappyHire is hire. Have an open hiring strategy. So don't look at only the friends or within Kerala and etc. Try to hire from the outside Kerala too. This would add a dynamism within the team. So don't compromise with this part. Build a team which has multi-geographical culture, trying to build an international company from the day one onwards. I would. We actually hired a couple of people from Mumbai, and one person is working in the from Hyderabad and etc. So who are got with the corporate before, so they can actually drive the engagement, or you can learn from them. As a team, it's a great asset. So at the end of the day, team is asset for all of us, right? So it's a very important. And whenever you present something to the corporate side, make it very simple. Don't make it complicated at all, because their guys' day-to-day life is not deal with IT team, right? Especially I'm talking about the business or IT projects. So make everything very simple. Whenever you go to a technical discussion, to just explain, hey, we can't do this, but try to use in their own language, and try to don't use bigger jargons and confuse them, because technical jargons and confuse them, because if you say the details of AI and algorithm and all, they won't even understand it. That's why they hired us, and our job is to make sure that talk in their language and make them understand that there is a risk, there is an advantage. This is the way to do the things, right? So make it very simple when we talk to them. And the last point is establish a process and documentation, as I mentioned before. We actually spend a lot of time here in the last couple of months, and we put all the process in place, especially and documented it. This is very important. When somebody somebody asks to show the evidence, you have to show the process and the procedures and the policies. Everything has to be properly documented. Sometimes they will ask the screenshot as an evidence. You should be very prepared about all of this process. So I think I'm covered most of the part which I wanted to cover section. From my experience, these are the main points which I see is quite important for any startup to get ready for a corporate deal or a corporate accelerator deal, right? And leave to you guys in case if you wanted to share one or two other points from your experience. Happy to learn from you guys, and or if you have any questions, feel free to shoot. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jyothis. That's a wonderful presentation. We can feel it that you have a deep homework for this presentation, and you have covered all the aspects in the corporate discussion, corporate deals. And meanwhile, so I'm requesting all participants to put your questions in the questions tab. And if you want to ask questions directly to Jyotish, you can click on the raise hand button. Meanwhile, Jyotish, we have a question in the question tab. Mr. Vivek Balachandran, Director of Popcode Innovations. What about the tools to connect with the corporates, and what do you think about LinkedIn Sales Navigator or any other tools? Can you recommend, please?
Sure. So Sales Navigator is a wonderful tool. Only thing is it's little pricey. It's a good way of connect with the corporates and get a starting point. But as I said before, that intention or what you call the need should be come from them. So it's always better to look at the corporates, especially corporate programs like what we discussed, or it could be some kind of conferences. Like there are a lot of conferences started, right now completely online. We just participate in SHRM conference right now, which is like a completely online conference. A fully online conference, but it is exactly mimicking a normal physical conference. You have a booth, you have presentations, and people can walk in, but in a full digital manner. There are many other players also come for HR Tech. If you look at it, People Matters also comes with a similar strategy. Apparently, in every in your business or in your line of business, there are a lot of corporates or a lot of conferences are also coming up with this kind of digital conferences. Make sure you use all these things. When you connect with the LinkedIn or those kind of online one, maybe it's not very easy to get connected to the decision makers, right? It is always better to identify the decision makers in a corporate. So we call it as like a targeted account based sales. So if you wanted to sell your solution to Airtel, you have to map the entire Airtel decision makers tree, and then go ahead and target one or two guys and go ahead and behind them each and every digital footprint where they do, and then make sure you are in their radar. To conclude what I want to say, that don't depend only one tools. Try to use it in all places. And Sales Navigator, as you know, it's a very very costly, but you can go with a smart strategy with a less cost for you. Hope that I answered your question. Yeah.
Yes, Vivek replied in the chat box as well. It's clear. And Jyotish, and meanwhile, I think normally we got a lot of questions in the questions tab, and normally we got a lot of questions. But from your presentation, I hope all the things you have covered that. That's why it's not pushing up some other questions. So from my end, so what's the time period you take for the closing that deal with the talent coin? So how much normally, or what are the other time period to close an corporate deal? So that's my question. Yeah.
So normally, typically, it will take 3 to 6 months for sure.
Mhm.
Again, depends on the business and how the internal speed of the business to take the decisions. Um, but typically, believe me, three to 6 months. That's a minimum.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
Yeah, Jyothis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, I mean, it was indeed a a good presentation with some crucial insights on how founders should take this corporate accelerators and corporate business in very seriously. So, just a note to all the founders, all the participants over there. This is something very crucial. Unlike the presentations or unlike the sessions that you have attended previously hosted by Kerala Startup Mission. This is actually a real life, real practical, experience sharing by a founder who actually got connected to a international business. So I suggest you all to make use of this opportunity. And if you have any doubt, anything that you have regarding like how to take your startup further in terms of business connects globally or nationally, I mean, we can use this opportunity to ask to Jyothis. Jyothis, I would like to ask you a question. So, what was your overall experience with Kerala Startup Mission? How do you feel about that experience? You mentioned about corporate accelerator. You gave a brief overview. You gave a systematic approach towards it. But I actually want you to give your experience, like how Kerala Startup Mission played a role here in getting connected to those accelerators, especially to Freshline.io and to other founders over there. Uh,
Sure.
is it really worth it, or or
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to. Sorry, I was quite quite
yeah.
excited about sharing my experience, but this is something that's a very important point which I also wanted to share. So I have been into the startup world from 2013, and I've seen multiple startup incubations and stuff like that. But believe me, this is one of the best startup incubation what I have seen till today. And especially the team is quite open, young, vibrant. They normally help with whatever you ask. I normally shoot or ask questions or help from seek help from KSUM. Most of the times, it's actually fulfilled. Especially in this connect with the Freshline, it's actually a wonderful connect. I still remember the project was posting a use case, a use case in the WhatsApp group, and then I was showing an interest to discuss with that, and we got connected with these guys. And from there onwards, whenever we achieved a milestone, or sometimes we stuck with the engagement, we seek help from KSUM. It's not just an introduction, but also they helped us to shape that and move forward with this engagement. So that is a really 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 important engagement, because normally the you will maximum will get introductions, but normally that engage or that help will be ending over there. But in the case what I see, that what I observed, what I've received is pushing through that entire engagement and make sure that it works for a startup. So as a team. So thank you, Prijit, and the entire team for supporting us in this case. And I'm pretty sure that the startups who are listening me should make use of Kerala Startup Mission. They have a lot of wonderful programs. They are trying to help us in different ways, but I don't know how much we are actually exploring them and make use of to grow your business. Please do so.
Yeah. Thank you, Joseph. In fact, the last couple of sentences that you made, that was actually quite the need of the hour. Like many startup founders, I mean, in fact, in my experience of the startup ecosystem, I have seen a couple of ecosystem globally, and I have seen many ecosystems in the nation also. But again, with utmost confidence, I can say that we have got some really good scalable technology startups. They are very well in terms of developing a product very fast. But there is a issue of scalability when it comes so far. So, and for your information, founders, my respected founders who are listening to this, we have got a program called Corporate Innovation. So this connect that Jyothis has got with Freshland.io, that is actually a part of the Corporate Innovation Program. So we have got a Corporate Innovation Program wherein Kerala Startup Mission interact with corporates. They bring these corporates to the ecosystem, and they make these corporates connect with the relevant startups based on the use cases that they have. I and my team, we are continuously working towards this initiative. I recommend you all to consider applying to the use cases that we normally post in the platform. So right now we have got something called business.startupmission.in, wherein we have posted the use cases that we normally conduct in the reverse pitch. So please do apply for that use cases, and if we feel that there is a particular startup who have a particular use case for that solution, we will not hesitate to recommend this particular startup to the corporate. And trust me, it really works. So right, why I am telling this is we have got this program, but many startups are there who are not using the services of this corporate innovation program. It is totally without any commercials. The government of Kerala actually is trying to help startups to scale globally. The mission of this year, in fact, is to give maximum business to startups. So please do apply for this corporate innovation program with these reverse pitches, these demo days, and try to maximize this and maximize your business. Because when you scale up, it is it is the output that we can show to the world. Okay. Any other questions?
Somebody was asking a question. Somebody wanted to ask you questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Achut Mohandas posted a question in the chat box. We are currently developing an innovative social media platform and plans to develop 2 more service-based products in the near future. We are looking for investors in these products under the single brand Infotron. Without incorporating different companies for each product, can get investors and share profit from these single projects alone for each investor without the profit getting merged.
Okay.
Okay, so that's part from the KSUM team can answer, I think. And so another Jyothis, you have another question from Manoj Kadagampalli. How do you adopt this process with a client who is operating outside our country?
Okay, so there are standard process are in place. For example, ITL process and the change request process and all different IT process, which is like a common all over the world. And normally we adopt this process based on the common framework which is published by the authorities. So a lot of people like I'm sorry. A lot of companies, bigger companies, for Fortune 500 companies or bigger corporates, actually follow the ITL process. So that is a standard which we also follow.
Right. Thank you.
I think my co-founder Deepu also joined within the as an attendee. Deepu, would you like to add anything on this? Because he also be part of this entire journey. Probably he can also add a couple of points.
So I request.
So Deepu, you may raise your hand. We will unmute you, and you can add your inputs also.
Yes. Siddharth, please unmute Deepu. Hi, Deepu.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes, Deepu.
All right, super. So just to add to what Jyothis said, right? I mean, he was pretty much spot on when he said that it's all based on the ITIL processes. So basically, the essence is it doesn't really matter, or even when you look at scaling up the team, we shouldn't think of it as the particular team is based out of India or the customer is in India or outside the India. So I would say the process has to be pretty much international in nature. Like we should be able to adapt the process to any customer for that matter. So in this specific case, and to give specific answer to your question, how do we manage it? As Jyothi said, Jira is one of the tools that we use quite effectively. Like for the entire SLA management, the incident management, problem management, change management, release management, and you name it, any of the processes under the ITIL framework is pretty reasonably you can manage Jira itself. So it's a paid tool, but I would say when you are actually showing your face to a customer, having this adoption of these technical or standard products, process-wise products, it gives you a lot of uptake when they look at you as a company. Yeah, these guys are mature. These guys are actually applying processes and gives a lot of importance to the process. So I would say the best option is use as much as tools you can and have standard frameworks for process management. Did that answer your question? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Deepu. Yes, yes. You are that answer fits for the question. And
Yeah.
Jyotish, yes, we have
We have a question from
another.
Mohandas.
Yes,
Sorry?
We
we
have
have
a
another person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siddharth, can you please unmute?
hello, Mr. Achut, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us, Mr. Achut?
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, my name is, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll explain my scenario. So my name is Achut, I'm running a company, Infotron. So we are currently developing a social media platform. That's the first thing that we are doing at this moment, and plans to develop 3 more products. It's service-based products. So if we are inviting investors to invest in our projects, can we keep the financials separate for each project? That's the main concern that we have at this moment. So if person A is investing in project A and person B is investing in project B, can we actually split up these profits and
Okay.
profit with them without getting these profits getting merged? Because we don't want to incorporate a number of companies, 3 or 4 companies for each project. We want to keep everything under the single umbrella called Infotron. That's why I'm asking this question.
Okay, Achit. So I'll just share my view on this. We have been gone through this investment recently, and we raised a seed round on it. So see, it's if you don't want to raise and register another company, it's quite complex and difficult. Reason one: how do you ensure you're not cross using your IP, cross using your team? Point number one, and point number two. Then you need to manage 2 different books, which actually will give you a nightmare eventually. So my request, or my whatever I have been speaking with multiple other investors, they would normally prefer to keep it separate, 2 different companies, or you can even keep a company fully on subsidiary of another company. So this is the 2 ways where you can address the solution. But I wouldn't recommend keep the same book for the 2 different products. And at the end of the day, gives you a lot of confusions, and especially when it comes to the IP and cross usage of resources and etc. etc. Does it answer?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jyothis. And I have one more question. It's a small one. Is an MVP is a basic thing for attracting investors? Do we have to get an MVP for sure, or can we get it with the idea or proof of concept?
Okay. I would say no to both. They normally investors would like to see the traction, right? They only listen to the sound of money, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah. So I hope I'm clear, right? As in, you should have attractions. There is no point if you have the idea, no point if you have the MVP. Especially in the Indian scenario, people normally it's very very rare to rare to see the people investing in MVP. They all wanted to see that how this people are how you acquire the customers. Are they ready to pay? That is the only point they're looking at. What is the tractions you are making in a 6 to 7 months of your product launch? This is
Okay,
very
okay. So, yeah, so we have to launch the product and get the user traction first.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you,
Yes.
Jyothis. Thank you so much. That
No
answers the
worries.
question.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Achut. Thanks, Achut, for joining. And I hope Prajit and Jyotish. So we are going to the
Manoj wanted to ask some question. No.
Yeah,
Manoj.
actually, I think he was not clear or he was not satisfied on the previous answer. Given by Deepu. So, Manoj, if you can hear me, please raise your hand and ask your question directly, so that us, Jyotis and Deepu, even they can understand the question better and they'll be able to give you the clear answer.
Yes. Meanwhile, Jyotish, you have another question from Arshin, founder of Forfeit. Can you please explain how to contact the right decision maker from the corporate? As a fintech startup, we have problems connecting banks to gain support and implement solutions. So, Jyotish, so you have already experience with collaboration with Federal Bank, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we have
Yeah.
the Federal Bank is our
Mm.
first customer.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so when we talk about, when you wanted to connect with the banks or insurance or big corporates, just to make sure that you properly study or you identify the right decision makers, because every bank has a multiple decision makers in multiple directions or multiple line of business. So imagine if you do some product for banks, but especially their marketing team, then identified who is the heading the marketing team and directly contact them. Or you can seek help from your peers who is doing the business with that bank. So I have actually connected a couple of startups with the Federal Bank who have a good relationship with them, and you can ask this kind of help from different founders within your group, and then get an introduction to that bank and take it from there.
Right. Hope that answer fit for your question. And I think Manoj is not live now. I think he left the area. So,
So, with
Prajit,
the interest of time, I guess it's the time to wind up.
yes, yes, it's already 12:22. So, Jyotish, anything else from your end?
No, I think I'm done.
Okay,
Things I
yeah,
covered.
perfect.
Thank you, Vignesh.
So,
Thank you, Prajit, for all support, and especially the session, because it's quite interesting for us also to share our experience, and so that
mhm.
our co-founders or the people who are listening to get gain, and the entire Kerala startup ecosystem will get benefit out of our experience. Thanks a lot for you guys for your time as well.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Jyotish. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so thank you, audience, for being here and patience hearing. So we will be joining with the next Biz-Connects webinar series, second edition, in the last week of August. So hopefully you enjoy the session. Thank you, Jyotish. Thanks for all the support.
Thank you guys. Bye bye. Catch you soon.
Bye bye. Yeah, good day. Take care, safe. Bye bye.